Just want to say thank you to everyone for coming today. I know with the current environment, it's a little difficult to get out there. As always, great crowd here. So what do you guys think about why I love purple teaming, even though they don't exist? A little clickbaity, huh? Yeah? Did you fall for the clickbait, or what do you think? Okay. So one of the questions I have is, purple teaming's really kind of hit the industry for cybersecurity recently. It's a terminology that's out there that's not quite really defined very well. Is anyone in here on a purple team, or what they consider to be a purple team? No. All right. See, I told you they don't exist because no one here is on one. So kind of today walk you through about this evolution of where I discovered with purple teams. And I'm going to spend a little bit of time on my story because I think it gives you the background of the purple teaming and the story that I'm going to tell. So if you're looking, I do have to apologize. You can put it in the comments. If you're looking for some slides today to kind of take away and go apply something, this is more about challenging ideas and talking about concepts and how we define things. And where we as an industry can go to find some answers or solutions. All right, so my story. Who am I, right? You see a lot of certifications up there. I've been through the cybersecurity training. I do penetration testing. Keep that quiet there, because once you say that, you are labeled as that for life, and nobody will look at you the same. So I prefer the purveyor of cybersecurity. Says we do a lot more than just going in and breaking something, right? A lot of times we're there helping people. Where how do you fix this? How do you find this? How do you defend against this? Maybe what steps could I have taken to prevent this or find this? So as what you see before you is really my quest for that knowledge so that I can share that knowledge as I work on my different engagements. Now, why did I get all those certifications? Part of the SANS Technical Institute. Not a pitch for them, but that's where it went out. And that's why, I kind of went to gain a master's, because as you grow in your career, there are certain things to look for. And I know a lot of people just want to be technical, and they're not necessarily thinking about a career, but I encourage people to think about your careers and grow that story, right? Learn different areas, specialize in a certain one, but then learn those other areas so that you can be better at your current job. And I can think all that and paid for as the U.S. Army. The one thing I did put the Caveman up here, because when you do mention penetration tester, people think of you as just someone with a club that's going to go in and break something. So with that, and a lot of what I did is wanting to answer, right? So I think everyone's seen this, right? Top 5 ways to get domain admin before lunch, the 2018 edition, right? We're in 2021, about to go into 2022, and these top 5 ways still work. So the question is why? We're all here working hard to secure businesses, to lock them down, and to solve some of these issues. So why? Where's the difference? Why in cybersecurity are we not making as big of an impact as we can? And here for this was 2008. I think the first edition was 2015, which now puts us almost 7 years later. So as I asked that question, I'm like, all right, so I've got to go learn about businesses, right? And part of that is, look, when business talks cybersecurity, there's some truth behind this. We get in there, we're very highly technical, we're very, into it, and once we grab on a topic, we don't want to let go because we want to solve that issue. So if this is the way a lot of business looks at us and sees us, we have to change that, right? And again, part of the story in moving on to that, I decided to go into another venture. Back to the books to find out, how do I speak to a business? And how can you speak their language to change some of these items that are happening since 2018, 2015 are still out there? You have to speak their language, right? You have to understand what they are and how they communicate. So that's the adventures of learning that. And in that adventure is really how I came about this topic. I see it within cybersecurity. You see the name purple teaming, leads a lot of questions. So part of that is the better communications and, defining different aspects. One of the items, really is just sort of starting to define this issue is really what is cybersecurity. It's not breaking something, it's not fixing something. Cybersecurity for business is there to help protect the business and identify digital risks. So our purpose is to keep a business up and running, to make money and continue on with whatever their purpose is. A lot of this you'll see when you come into is maybe anybody have the CISSP, right? Yep, you'll see them talk a lot about the risk. About 5 years in your career, start moving towards that and identifying. So then, where are we really today, right? So what are the teams? So this is a little graphic that popped up. You kind of see we've got a myriad of colors, right? Maybe in cybersecurity, some of these might mean something to you. Outside the world, people are going to be in the business, be like, what's a red team? What's a blue team? What are you doing? And then we start mixing colors, right? And one of those colors is purple. So is that a new team? Is that a new task? What do you do with that for a business? So how do you communicate the need for this to the business? And look, I think they even threw in yellow color that when mixed with the green, you've got orange. A lot of different things there. So I think we're really on how people arrived at purple teaming is you take the blue team, you take a red team, right? You put them together, there you go, you got purple. Is that really the team? Now, is there a solution there? So when you're working through a subject or expertise or knowledge, right? You can't just have the knowledge for just that. So you just can't be blue team. Eventually, it's some way in your blue teaming, you have to learn how an attacker is going to come at you. Where are they going to come from? Why are they doing that? You're not looking just for, I've got an event. Is this an alert? Is this an incident? All right, move on. So you really need to have some knowledge of more. So I use the terminology of when you're looking through your career is you're looking at, maybe if you're a blue team, right? You want to be like 60, 70%, maybe 80% blue team knowledge. The other percentage, you need to have something. Is that going to be towards infrastructure? Is that going to be towards red teaming techniques, right? So before even purple team, like that middle part, it's not necessarily a new team. It's information and part of your job that you should be having. So maybe that's advanced blue teaming, right? I really haven't heard that word out there. Why not? Why can't blue teamers have an advanced practice or advanced knowledge or working on something? And then, of course, you have your red team, right? Which everyone, we get them in my business, they want to show up, feel like they're rock stars, rocking it out, breaking things, little caveman. But eventually, as you progress, you need to have knowledge on the blue team and how the blue team works, right? And where do you gain that? You need to know how to evade defenses. You need to know what they're detecting, what they're looking for, why are they looking for it. It really turns into kind of a chess match. If you do this, are they going to do that? And in that chess match, we've really hit a division, right? You can go back to the days, it's always red versus blue. But why? Why does it have to be red versus blue? You know, you don't need to, it's a team effort, right? If we go back and take a look at cybersecurity, like the whole purpose of that is for the business. You don't join a blue team to catch the red team. You don't do a red team to kind of like, I got past the blue team. So this tension or this competition has really been created within our industry. And this is really driving the problem that people are trying to solve. And some of that solution people may have come up with was a purple team. But is that, you know, again, questioning, is that a new team, right? And where does that apply? So if we kind of break it back down, again, just taking a look at the different organizations, you're looking at cybersecurity. So we've defined that, right? You're there for the business. You're trying to prevent the risk. For the blue team, you're looking there to defend the organization against those attacks. Now the red team, a lot of different definitions, but you're there to really help the business identify those blind spots, those weaknesses, those new tools, those new tactics, right? So these two teams are working for the business. They're not working against each other, right? They need to work together. Now, what's really caused this? So when you start to, on my quest and my journey and looking to change that language into something that you can communicate outside of the business, you need to take a look at how is the cybersecurity program organized, right? So I introduced to you the silo organization. This itself, when you take a look from a management or business perspective, like stepping outside of security, and let's see what knowledge may be there already and it's kind of causing some of the problems we have. So a lot of times you'll end up in silo organizations. Part of the issue with a silo organization is you can have a very technical group because of the exposure. So all the way down, let's see if this works. Yes. So all the way down the bottom has exposures up to some of the maybe even top knowledge. So you're getting a very good group of technical people. And this itself, although has problems, because that leadership or that communication only stays in that silo. So imagine it if one of these are a red team and one of them's a blue team and they silo up. You really don't get that communication across those silos. You don't get that working, You're working on one thing for a business and that's it. And these are cause issues in all other different industries. So, if we step out, this problem that we're having within cybersecurity has already been solved by other industries. And it's known. So by taking a step out and learning about other industries, learning different ways to communicate, some of these items can be known. Is anybody here, is there cybersecurity sort of a silo organization? Okay, now if I say siloed purple team, we know it doesn't exist, so all right. So the opposite of that, of a silo organization, is what's referred to as a matrix organization. So matrix organizations are process-oriented. And so while you may have a team or a structure that you're on, you're going to have something that comes across the side, and that allows communications between those scenarios. So for this, as you can see, let's say it's just functional manager. This could be your blue team, your red team, your architecture team. And then you have a project that goes across those teams. And this project would be cybersecurity. And here, you're able to achieve and break through that communication barrier that you don't necessarily have in a silo. And these solve that solutions. So is a silo organization wrong? No. Is a matrix solution the best answer? Not necessarily. It all depends on your organization. But each organization structure has its own challenges. And we have to be aware of what those challenges are and what we need to do to solve those challenges. It just won't stay. All right, so just kind of going back to the communication, and as you can see, this talks a little bit about the silos and the issues that they do. So going back to what I said, they promote highly technical growth, but they have an issue with communication. Graphics are always the best display. As you can see here, we've got people just really not talking outside. And this is the issue of why we've developed into, well, part of the issue of a red team versus a blue team is because you see these silos and then sometimes they compete. So bottom line, what is the issue? So a lot of purple teams is a solution that I think we as a cybersecurity industry have developed to really solve that organizational structure issue. It's a communication issue. It's also can be an education issue. So when we take a look at the need for when you're, red team, like let's say, 70% red team, 30% blue team, right? A lot of people have incorporated that purple teaming has an idea to solve that issue. So one of the things I challenge about the purple team, is it real, right? So what does that define as a purple team? Is it an actual physical team that you're going to go to your boss, like, hey, we need to stand up this whole new team, hire people, that can be a solution. But I don't think that is the solution for an organization. I think if you identify the need for a purple team, you can address that need by having better communication, by having maybe training and reaching out. So maybe training your employees and not just looking at them as only blue team. Why do you want to take the OSCP? You're working in the SOC, right? That provides value to the person working in the SOC. That provides that education. That provides that knowledge. So from an organization structure as a single business, you may not need a purple team. You just need a different solution. Now, if you look at the industry and the people that are talking, you may have looked at my LinkedIn, right? I say purple team manager. Well, I'm a consultant, right? So I take the knowledge that I have from the training I have, from the skills I developed, and I work with organizations to increase their knowledge, to share them, to help them communicate and understand why certain things are happening. I think one of the best teams and one of the best things I've done is when I've run a purple team is walk into an organization that had the support of the entire C-suite, and we were able to make changes to the organization and help advance their cybersecurity agenda. And again, that's as a consultant, right? And you can do that if you're looking at a business and they may be more likely to have a blue team or someone defending and less likely to have a red team because it can be seen as an unnecessary expenditure. So, if you have a blue team and they don't have that exposure to the red team, you can hire a consultant to kind of do that purple teaming. So I think with an organization, you're not going to necessarily find the need for a new purple team to develop, right? You can increase the communications between your different structures within your organization. I told you you wouldn't be able to print these slides out. So, so what? So what is all this about? What am I trying to say to everybody? And what do I want to say? Is, through my exploring for knowledge and kind of that quest is there's answers to our industry and problems that we have that can really be solved by going outside of our industry and taking a look at what others have done. By exploring, I'm having this issue. What is there a solution out there? We're very good at challenging technical solutions and challenging people when it comes to cybersecurity, right? And then a lot of times, we're not internally challenging our own cybersecurity people when someone comes up and it's like, hey, you need a purple team. Do you need that? What are they trying to solve? Why are they trying to solve it? And how can you do better? So what do you need to take away from this talk? Well, it's definitely shorter than 50 minutes, but that does give you some time to go take a look at the CTF, maybe prep some of your machines. I want you to take a look at some of the issues we have and try to find new solutions and not necessarily create them. And by finding new solutions, do a little research, look out for non-cybersecurity. I also would love to see more cybersecurity people on the business side. I've seen a lot of people in organizations go from business into cybersecurity, but I don't see a lot of people going from cybersecurity to business. So I would encourage you to take that technical knowledge and transition, if you can, towards the business side of the house and really help and eliminate maybe some of those how to get domain in 5 minutes, from 2018. Any questions? Absolutely.
What would be the first step to take a blue team to a red team, or to not to a red team, blue team to a purple team?
So the question is, what would be the first step to take a blue team to a purple team?
Yeah.
Are you looking from, I'm assuming you're looking from an organization, like your business. Yeah. So I don't think you need to take it to a blue team. I think that you need to give them training. Let's say you only have the blue team. You need to give them training, educate them in the red team ways, right? They're still blue team, right? They're still defending, right? Maybe kind of define that advanced blue teaming, right? Does it have to be a purple team? Does it, why can't the blue team have that advanced side? And that advanced side can include some of that red team knowledge. Because a lot of times when I'm working with the blue teamers through the businesses that I go, they're really focused on, I've got this alert, this happened, and they don't necessarily know what the next step is. Why did the attacker do this, right? Why did they pull this information? What information did they pull? With the information they gathered, what can they do with that? Where's their next target? And I think that is, if you want to define that as a purple team, you can. But I think I would challenge, you don't necessarily need to kind of create that team or break that linear structure. Are there any other questions? Okay. Does anybody want to admit that they're on a purple team? No? Okay. How many people still believe purple teams exist? Nobody. I wish the camera would capture this. This is further evidence that they don't exist. I was right. All right. Thank you, everybody, for your time today. Appreciate you coming. If you have any questions, let me know.